presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are FC.
After a night of hostility in Baltimore, the Royals must refocus on a win and snapping their 6-game losing streak. We will also look back and celebrate Dayton Moore's career as general manager of the Royals on the 10-year anniversary of his first day. Royals baseball from Camden Yards in Baltimore. The Royals are trying to avoid being swept tonight, and they're looking for their first win on this road trip. Royals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Now, during the broadcast last night, during the brawl, I asked you, is this what the Royals need right now? And I initially disagreed with you when you said maybe they do, but you weren't talking about the fight. You were talking about what may happen in the clubhouse and what may be the result of the fight.
Exactly. How is this going to turn into hits and wins? That's all that matters in Major League Baseball and professional sports for that matter. You play to win. Hopefully it ignites somebody to get a couple of big hits with men in scoring position and they get back in the win column. That's what I meant.
And unfortunately, we're talking about what happened last night because we had planned for a while to talk about the 10-year anniversary of Dayton Moore becoming general manager of the Royals. So we've got the game for you tonight. We're also going to look back on Dayton's 10 years, the great moments in Royals history that have been created over that time span, and let other people talk about Dayton's impact as general manager. Missouri Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. By Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit your MidwestFordDealers.com.
This is a great challenge. This is one that I'm looking forward to. We have a great group of baseball people within this organization, dedicated people that are talented, and I look forward to taking their input, using that input, and certainly putting a plan in place for us to win a world championship here. And I'm here for one reason, because I believe in the dedication and the support of this ownership. I believe in the dedication and the support of this community and the great tradition that this Kansas City Royals franchise has, and I'm excited about what's going to happen in the future.
Royals on this date, and he knew he had to build this team from within and through the draft, and it wasn't easy early on. In the first 5 years, the Royals had the worst winning percentage in the American League. He hired Trey Hillman in 2008. He was let go in 2010, replaced by Ned Yost. And then after finishing 10 games above 500 in 2013, the Royals won the American League in 2014. Lost in Game 7 of the World Series, but were right back last year, and the dream was fulfilled. World Series champions 9 years after he was named general manager of the Royals.
Incredible. And one thing I did not notice on the desk in front of Dayton was a crystal ball. That's the only thing missing. You believe that? Way to go. I mean, how many teams would love to construct a world championship product in 9 years? It's almost unheard of.
Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. The Royals are one of just 4 teams to reach the World Series in back-to-back seasons since the new millennium. The Yankees, the Phillies, and the Rangers. Only the Rangers did not win a World Series in back-to-back trips.
They were 1 strike away. And you believe it.
Royals lineup tonight. Number 1. Eric Hosmer will be the designated hitter for just the 3rd time in his career. He'll still bat 4th. So Kendrys Morales grabs some leather. He'll be at first base. And Gerard Dyson will bat 9th and play in left field.
I commend Ned Yost for letting Morales shake it up. Let him play on both sides of the ball tonight. He's already starting to roll a little bit. 3 hits last night. You get him out there at first base where he hasn't erred in the 9 starts he's been there as a Royal. I think that's a good idea.
And let's see how the Royals do against Chris Tillman. Good ERA, 3.33. He's had some trouble keeping the ball in the ballpark, and especially in his last 2 starts. He allowed 3 home runs in each of his last 2 starts, and the Royals are without a home run so far in the series, while the Orioles have hit 7.
He's been their most consistent. 54 hits in 70 1/3 innings. That's really good.
Escobar fouls back the first pitch.
And Tillman, he's only allowed a .215 average to his opponents. He does have 29 walks, so he can be a little bit wild at times. Fastball, changeup, curveball, cutter are his pitches.
On the ground to Flaherty, and Escobar is out. Escobar is just 2 out of 26 on this trip. All right, Hud, let's take a look at the Golden Oak Lending keys to the game.
Well, after a lot of exhaustive thought today, I said, you know what? Why don't we just go with play ball? Just play their game. Go out there and play and try easier. Instead of trying too hard, try easier. Take a little off your swing, put it in play, and keep the line moving. Get it moving and keep it moving. Just play baseball.
Whit Merrifield takes a strike. Well, that was the famous advice from Charlie Lau to a young George Brett. George, sometimes you need to try easier.
Yep, no doubt about it. Now that fastball that he just threw Merrifield was straight as a string.
So he's gone fastball, breaking ball to each of the first 2 hitters and gotten a ground ball with the breaking ball. 2 down.
The Orioles defense this evening. We go ahead and highlight Chris Tillman. Why not? He's a pitcher, but look what he's done, or what he hasn't done. Opponents a 44% success rate. But you know, It's hard to steal first. Gotta get on first base and make it happen. Trumbo getting his first start this year at first base.
Kane jumps on the first pitch and fouls it away.
That's the pitch that's going to get the Royals going right there. Fastball down the middle.
Well hit to right field. Reimold is there to make the play. 6 pitches, and Tillman gets the Royals in order in the first. Mid-60s for first pitch. We were in the mid to upper 80s on Monday night. And now the Orioles leading the major leagues in home runs, leading the major leagues in home runs hit at home. They have hit 51 here at Camden Yards and 7 in this series with the Royals. Going up against Edinson Volquez, who makes his 13th start of the year.
Set the tone, Edison. You have the pitches. Fastball, curveball, changeup. When he's on, his changeup's working well down in the zone. So is his curve, and his little two-seam fastball works well as well. Too. And the time in between pitches is going to be a key for him. Don't posture around the mound. Get up there and throw strikes, just like Tillman did. Went up there, kept a good tempo, keep the defense on their toes, and keep the game moving.
Off the end of the bat, Escobar throws him out.
For defense for the Kansas City Royals, we have highlighted is Salvador Perez. He's one of the best. We all know that. But I like the fact that Morales is going to play first and Haas is going to DH. Where's Whitley? Second base.
Hyun-Soo Kim will take a strike. The Orioles scored 4 of their 9 runs in the first inning yesterday with some bad luck hits. Bad luck for Yordano Ventura and the Royals. Good luck hits for them. Adam Jones got jammed on the first pitch from Ventura. Hit a one-hopper to deep short and reach. And then Kim did his best Ichiro Suzuki impersonation and hit one in between Cuthbert and the left field line. And that was the beginning. And the Orioles were off and running and went on to score 4. Merrifield to the hole, and there are 2 down.
First couple innings sets the tone. I like his tempo so far. He's getting up there and he's throwing the ball. And I like his pitches early. He's really executing his pitches. A two-seamer, a curveball.
Little extra ovation for Manny Machado as he digs in with 2 outs. Chop foul. Right to third base coach Bobby Dickerson, 0-1.
When you locate that fastball right there, that's what you get. Ground balls. And when Volquez is on, he's pitching to contact and using the infield. Yeah, way to go, young man. He's excited. That guy's in the game. That expression is beautiful.
Breaking ball for a strike, 1-2.
During a streak like this, which doesn't happen that often for the world champs, you need a starter to step up and go deep in the game. Look at how his ball's moving tonight. He's got excellent movement. His pitches are moving in and out and down. He's got good movement. He's keeping it low so far. That's what he wants. Volquez has the ability to step up and be the guy. Yeah, he was. He got the go. Machado.
3 up, 3 down for Volquez in the bottom of the first inning. Three in the first inning. Here's our University of Kansas Hospital injury report. Brett Eibner on his way to join the Omaha Storm Chasers to begin a rehab assignment tomorrow. Royals would love to have his bat and his defense back out there. And with the Royals struggling offensively right now, it's easy to just focus on what Eibner can do offensively, but Royals feel like he is a plus defensive player as well. So he fits in more ways than one. Designated hitter Eric Hosmer leads off the second inning. He's ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Oz is still looking for his first extra base hit in June. Didn't mean to do it. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Now check out this defense. How about the little triangle defense over there on Haas? We see a lot of teams play him straight up. And that's because recently he's been trying to pull everything. So they're playing him like that during this period of time right now.
That is well hit to left field. Back goes Kim, and he makes a play. Again, it's a cool night. So the ball is not going to carry like it does in Baltimore during the summer months. There is a breeze, and it appears to be blowing out.
Can you believe it? June 8th, 67 degrees and 34% humidity. Unbelievable.
Sounds like Southern California.
It does.
So 1 out to Salvador Perez. Salvi is on the first pitch. Reimold to the side wall. There's a little nook and cranny in right field, but Reimold was not able to make the play.
That had a home run distance. There it is. Salvi jumping on the fastball, going with a pitch. Still trying to pull it.
A reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Salvador Perez is hitless so far in this series. 0 for 8. Lined foul off the side wall. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And it's not just Salvi, but some very important bats have gone cold, not just in this series, but on this trip. Alcides Escobar, Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, Salvador Perez. None of those 4 have either scored a run or driven in a run. And a collective 141 against the Indians and the Orioles on this trip.
Yep, I remember back at home, one of the last games of that wonderful homestand, Ned Yost was talking about how, man, it's unbelievable how this team, they all hit at the same time and then they all shut down at the same time. And he's right. Beautiful.
Nice swing with 2 strikes. By the way, during that perfect homestand, HUD,
yeah,
those 4 players that I just named had 28 RBIs and 21 runs scored. So that's how important they were during the homestand.
Well, sure. Beautiful sign right there. Salvador Perez making an adjustment up at the plate, not trying to pull the ball. He had 2 really good swings on his fastball, on Tillman's fastball, and then takes that breaking ball to the right field. Was nice.
Well, let's see what we get from Kendrys Morales tonight. Fastball is in for strike 1. Morales last night, as we look at our Kubota power stats, was 3 for 3 with a double, a walk, and a run scored. And only Jose Reyes, with a minimum of 75 plate appearances, has hit better at Camden Yards. 0-2. And with the loss and a 6th consecutive loss and the brawl, there wasn't a lot of positives to draw from last night's game, but Ned Yost did bring up Kendrys Morales. So will there be a carryover tonight?
Better look fastball tonight. They're not going to give him any off-speed pitches if they can help it, because he raked him last night. He went to the opposite field on a fastball way out of the zone, but the one he hit off the wall was a hanger, a breaking ball. So they're staying firm with him first time through.
And 2 of those hits came when he was down in the count. Fastball gets him swinging. That's Tillman's first strikeout. 2 down. We're going to spend a lot of time tonight looking back on the 10 years of Dayton Moore as general manager, and there are a couple of important trades course, the trade that brought Wade Davis and James Shields to the Royals, the trade that brought Alcides Escobar and Lorenzo Cain to the Royals, which turned around the franchise. Well, Chris Tillman was involved in a similar trade that was big for the Orioles. Chris Tillman was Seattle's second-round pick 10 years ago. And in 2008, the Orioles traded Eric Bedard to the Mariners. Very erratic left-hand pitcher. And the Orioles got Adam Jones, Chris Tillman, and George Sherrill. Had some good years pitching out of the bullpen. So that would be their version of the Zach Greinke for some young players who had potential.
Every trade an organization makes, they hope it's the trade that makes a difference, but you just never know until it plays out.
Over the outside, Tillman strikes out Morales and Orlando to end the second inning. Speaking of that Greinke trade, we'll hear Dayton Moore talk about that when we come back.
Deal. Put us on a pathway to get Alcides Escobar. We don't make that deal, we don't get Alcides Escobar. We might get Lorenzo Cain and Jake Odorizzi. We probably would have in the Zach Greinke deal. But if we don't have Yuniesky Betancourt, that deal is not completed in a way that's helped us win championships today in Kansas City. So everything you do is important.
You know, in doing that interview with Dayton and having spent a lot of time with Dayton in the 10 years he's been here, both on the air and off the air, that was something I'd never heard before. And this was before you got here, Hud, but Yuniesky Betancourt had one pretty good year for the Royals, and then after that became just a lightning rod for criticism. And a lot of it was deserving, and the Royals stuck with Yuniesky Betancourt a lot longer than a lot of the fans and a lot of the broadcasters wanted him to, as Volquez takes care of Trumbo on 3 straight pitches. But the way he put it there, the Brewers wanted a top-line starting pitcher. You know, they went for it in the 2011 season. So they got Zach Greinke, they got Sean Markham from the Blue Jays. The Royals wanted Escobar, and the Brewers can't give up Escobar unless they have a shortstop. Well, people forget that was Zach Greinke and Yuniesky Betancourt to get Lorenzo Cain, Alcides Escobar, Jake Odorizzi, and Jeremy Jeffress. Our Honda most trusted players. 2 of those guys not only became All-Stars, but Lorenzo Cain was 2014 ALCS MVP. Alcides Escobar 2015 ALCS MVP. Same trade.
Wow. That is stellar acquisitions. No doubt about it.
And by the way, the Royals really didn't give up much when they acquired Yuniesky Betancourt from the Seattle Mariners. Volquez makes it interesting with the high underhand toss, but he gets Matt Wieters, and there are 2 down.
A nice play. Didn't panic. Took his time. Knew the catcher was running. Just get the out. Ooh. Hung it up there a little bit too high, though. Made it interesting. So far in the 17 pitches that Volquez has thrown tonight, every one of them has had a purpose. He hasn't missed. He's been really good concentrating down in that zone.
17 pitches, 13 strikes.
Right.
Scope gets jammed, hits it out to Cuthbert. 3 up, 3 down. And over 2 innings, 6 up and 6 down against Volquez.
Notice that tempo. It's nice.
Hey, Big Slick is coming up next Friday. That's our annual celebrity softball game before the Royals take on the Tigers. And we'll continue the tradition of having the game on the big league field prior to the Royals and the Tigers. So don't miss your chance to see local celebrities. Paul Rudd, Jason Sudeikis, Rob Riggle, David Ketchner, Eric Stonestreet, and their friends from Hollywood. Again, that's coming up next Friday. Ball 1 to Cheslor Cuthbert. It's fouled off of the catcher Wieters. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cheslor is 2 out of 7 in the series, and grateful to be playing last night and tonight after what happened on Monday when he took that throw off of his elbow, his funny bone. Two and 1.
That's a curveball.
I could it is a curveball and no intent. I could understand if the Royals, some of the hitters might be a little bit on edge, wondering who might get it tonight.
That's always a thought.
It's a foul ball. Lorenzo Cain was pitched high and tight late in the game last night, which, to add insult to injury, ended up being a strikeout as the pitch up and in hit the knob of his bat and deflected into Francisco Peña's glove for a strikeout. But was that the answer? We'll see.
Oh, well, if somebody gets a rib ball or gets hit, you just take your base, move on.
Would that be a rib sandwich or a rib burger?
That's a rib ball. That hurts. Okay. And well, the baseball polices the game. That's why you don't see a lot of smack talking in baseball. You see other sports.
Fair ball and down into the corner. Chesler Cuthbert is at second base with nobody out.
Fourth double for Chesler. Nice swing on an off-speed pitch. Kept it fair. Yeah, look at that. Perfect view. He's one step out of the box and knows he's got a double. Good feeling. Like I was saying, in football, you see them talk smack to one another, receivers and DBs. Basketball, they're always talking and jawing, but in baseball, you don't see that because the baseball, it polices the game. And all the pitcher's got to do is say it slipped. That's why there's not a lot of lip service, and when there is, like we saw last night, it causes issues.
Orioles think that Dyson's going to bunt, and he bunts it back and out of play. Well, that sums it up right there. There's two ways to look at it. The obvious way, they've struggled, 4 for 42, but they've had 42 opportunities. And last night they had base runners all over the place. That ball's caught, and it's a double play.
You know, like to see Gerard Dyson swing the bat. He's not doing a lot of bunting. I'd like to see him knock a run in instead of moving him over and playing it safe and giving up an out to get him over. And you're afraid of that. Great play by Flaherty. Being able to throw the ball on one leg off balance is something an infielder has to be able to do. That's a long throw across the diamond and a sweet play. I just like to see him turn him loose, let him hit.
Well, we have found out many times over the years that when a hitter bunts for the Royals, more times than not, the call didn't come from the dugout.
You're right.
A lot of times it's the player doing it himself. Two 2-0 on Escobar. He grounded out to third in the first inning. The Indians and the Orioles have gotten Alcides Escobar to do a lot of that on this trip. Swing at pitches that are not strikes.
And bunting pitches that aren't strikes.
Tough play Flaherty. No play for Flaherty.
There you go. I've been wondering where his drag bunt has gone. And when you're scuffling like that and you have the ability to bunt, go ahead. Look at that. It's a good try there to get on base. Excellent placement. And Flaherty, who's playing back, had to put that in his pocket.
So it's Merrifield with Escobar at first and 2 down. And that's fouled away. Witt, in reaching in the game last night, tied the Royals record, reaching base in his first 16 major league games. Johnny Damon accomplished that in 1995. So reaching base tonight, base hit, walk, hit by a pitch, and the record is his.
Tillman, quick feet, quick move. Escobar got good and loose running down that baseline, 90 feet. Maybe he can attempt to steal his 11th bag.
Back to Tillman. So the Royals had a leadoff double from Cuthbert, but Tillman pitches around it. The bunt double play was huge for the Orioles. No score to the bottom of the third.
Dayton Moore, a very good general manager, is really what makes him a good human being. The qualities that he has in terms of honor and integrity, and friendship and honesty and clarity and communication in a fashion that people know he's honest and he's believable, he's trustworthy, and he regards people in a very high manner. Good people is the secret sauce to building good organizations, and Dayton realized that. He had it in him. He saw us, how we did it here in Atlanta. He took that with him to Kansas City.
The first general manager to lead the Royals to the World Series, John Schuerholz, back in 1985, and then was general manager when the Braves had the unprecedented run of 14 consecutive division titles. Many of those years, Dayton Moore was John Schuerholz's assistant.
Those were kind and accurate words. Secret sauce.
2-0 on Pedro Alvarez. 3 balls and no strikes. Some of the key decisions: signing homegrown players to extensions, strong commitment to Latin America. That was at the top of the list when he took over. And then the trades to acquire Lorenzo Cain, Alcides Escobar, Wade Davis, James Shields, and then of course last year Ben Zobrist and Johnny Cueto. Significant in many different ways, because one of those trades was to bring in veterans for young players. Another trade was sending veterans to get young players. And then the boost at the trading deadline last year. And in talking to Denny Matthews about the history of the Royals, he couldn't remember a year where a contending Royals team went out and got premier players for the stretch run like the Royals did to get Ben Zobrist and Johnny Cueto.
You better believe it. Premier is the word in that phrase. Oh, way to get back in it. 3-0. Alvarez got to go. Good job by Volquez, not giving in, taking advantage of a liberal strike zone from behind the plate tonight by C.B. Bucknor. It's a liberal zone, so at hitters with 2 strikes, anything close, you better be hacking.
You've been a bit poetic with your strikeouts tonight.
I don't know
Notice
why.
that?
I don't know why.
You got to go. Machado,
Yeah.
and Pedro got to go. So if Reimold strikes out, how are you going to
I don't know.
Turn that into a rhyme.
We've only been working 5 years together, and you know I don't know what comes out next. I don't know.
You're hearing it for the first time also, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't sit in my hotel room all day and think of things like that. It's just the game. You got to react. It's live, which scares me. But Volquez so far, outside of these first 2 hitters, he's been getting ahead of guys. But look where he's executing. He's staying down.
That was an easy play for Joel, by the way, on that little tapper by Reimold. I'm watching you, Joel.
Be afraid to reach over that net.
Yeah. 3 balls, 1 strike.
I'm still shell shocked from Lonnie Chisenhall.
Yep.
I feel much safer.
You got a net right there.
No net in Cleveland. And looking out there and Hosmer staring at me like, pay attention. So he's worried.
A smash past Cuthbert, but Dyson is right there waiting for it. Reimold's going to dig for 2. And he's in there. I thought Reimold was going to be out by a mile. Runner at second with 1 out.
Well, wasn't hit all that hard. Nice try by Cuthbert. But there needs to be a little urgency when you're going to the ball to the line. Looked to me like he just kind of jogged after it. Close.
I thought he was running right into an out.
Might have came off the back.
So that's a first base runner for Baltimore. Reimold at second for Ryan Flaherty, who had a long home run last night. One of the 4 Orioles home runs. He hit it out onto Utah Street for his first home run of the year. Two and 0. Merrifield gets a nice big hop. 2 down, and Reimold goes to third. The DVD Blu-ray combo pack Royalty Reigns is a comprehensive look back at the 2015 Royals and details how a championship was built. The Royalty Reigns combo pack is now available at retail locations throughout Kansas City and on the MLB.com shop. Own your piece of the crown today. So 2 down to Jones. He grounded out to Escobar in the first inning. Changeup is down and away. Adam Jones is a .242 hitter. He hasn't gotten a lot of hits lately, but he's made his hits count. 8 runs driven in his last 6 games. Changeup is inside. 2 balls and no strikes.
He's a leader. He's one of their leaders. It's not going anywhere. Changeup missed up, but it was in off the plate. If it misses out over the plate, it gets hit. So good location for Edison. Orioles has a team hitting .278 with runners in scoring position, and Jones is at .297.
Broken bat. Kane is there to make the play. So Volquez works around the 1-out double. 3 good innings for him, and now at the end of 3, no score.
Yards in the on-deck circle. The designated hitter tonight, Eric Hosmer, had a chance to talk to him about that, and he said that Ned Yost pulled him aside and said, would you like a day off? The first one from the field this year, a chance to DH, and Eric said, yeah, I would love to do that. I said, well, what's your routine as a DH? He said, I don't know. I've only done it twice, so I guess just chill out and hit. Kendrick's advice to him was, do a little light running in the dugout in between innings. He's young. He'll be fine.
Kane out to Machado, low throw and kicked by Trumbo. Kane is 0 for 2. He lined out to right in the first inning.
That'll be a pick for confidence for Trumbo, making his first start of the season over there for the Birds. Routine play, short with the throw, but you've got hands over there, you use them. Nice play.
Hosmer flied out to left field first time up. Over the inside for strike 1.
You don't want to throw strikes to Hosmer. But you see, he just can't wait. He's loading up. He's trying to unload, hit that big homer. And that's the tough part about being a designated hitter. You think about your at bat for sometimes 30 minutes, 20 minutes on the average in between at bats. And you want to hit. Tell yourself, I'm there to hit. Sometimes can get you to overswing.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Vote for the Royals Player of the Month at one of the 7 Rally House locations in the KC metro area. All participants will be entered to win a majestic prize pack. Two balls, 2 strikes. You pointed this out when Hosmer batted in the second inning. The Orioles using that overshift on him as if David Ortiz was at the plate, or Kendrys Morales,
right?
Yeah. Or Mike Moustakas. From 0-2 to 3-2. So you look at that. He has his fewest hits to right field. But that's how the Orioles play him. And wide open on the left side, and he takes full advantage. Hosmer's on with 1 out.
I think Hosmer's listening to us. But you can tell Tillman was staying away from him, respecting his power middle in, and he figured that out, and he just said, I could hit that. Nice swing.
Well, there's two parts to a defensive setup. It's placing the defenders where you want them, and then the pitcher has to make pitches to allow the hitter to hit into that defense. That was not a pitch designed for that defense.
No, and you know what? Even though these guys look like machines, they're not. They're only human. They make mistakes. Hitters, they thrive off of those. If the pitcher don't make many mistakes, you don't hit many mistakes. You don't hit anything. You might get lucky and hit his pitch once in a while, but
Salvador Perez was down in the count 1-2 in the second inning and singled to right. That was his first hit of this Orioles series. 0-2.
look cutter.
Still 0-2 on Salvi. Our sprint trivia question for tonight. Name the 4 American League catchers to win the World Series MVP award. There's one.
Gary Carter.
In the American League. Salvi beats it out. And by the way, we should point out the Royals made a roster move today. Christian Colon was called up. Tony Cruz was sent down. And part of that roster move is the Royals realizing that Salvador Perez is all right and he can get back to playing almost every day.
Sure looked like it there, and you just never know. Look at that focus. You never know. By beating that out, Morales gets a hold of one, hits a 2-run bomb. Staying out of that inning double play could be the reason.
There's CC. Good to see him back with the Royals. I believe another one of those catchers is in the house.
Oh, Rick Dempsey.
There you go.
Thank you. Nice hit. That was easy. Lance Parrish. Okay.
84.
Right.
Was he the MVP?
Nope. I don't think so.
Okay, so
Well, I'm looking over your shoulder, looking at Holtzy. Holtzy's over there. He's giving me the nod, yay or nay. I'm just throwing names out like we always do.
okay, but throw a name out that you think is going to be a correct answer.
Oh, I guess it.
That's the point of a trivia question. We'll whip him back into shape during the commercial break.
remembered for is that we treated people with kindness, we treated people with respect, we honored the game, we grew the game. More boys and girls are enjoying the Kansas City Royals than ever before. That really is what we want our legacy to ultimately be here.
And they've done that.
Grew the game. Kindness, respect. Things you wouldn't expect to hear from a very humble general manager who's a world champion.
Curveball strike to Hyun-Soo Kim. Volquez has given up just 1 hit in 3 innings.
You know, another thing that I've noticed in your interview, and you got to interview him during this thing. This is you doing that, doing the questions.
Right.
Way to go.
Thank you.
There's never a me or an I in his conversation. It's always we and us.
Pulled foul. 1-2 on Kim. Two balls, 2 strikes. Our Toyota League leaders, the best records in the American League since 2013. The 2 best are right here in Baltimore. And I wonder who could have imagined that after the 2012 season, that beginning the next year the Royals would have the best record in the league. In 2013, 14, 15 into 16. And I brought this up before. You know, in 2012 the Royals lost 90 or more games for the 11th time in 14 years. And there were 4 100-loss seasons over that stretch. Kim is out, grounding out to Merrifield for the 2nd time. 1 down in the 4th inning. The Orioles so far have only made 1 out in the air against Volquez. Everything else has been on the ground or a strikeout.
And I'm not surprised by watching the finishing on his pitches, how they're finishing. Nice, keeping everything down. We haven't seen a Volquez like this in a while. And I would credit that to his focus and his determination to help his team. He is pitching with that Kansas City on his chest and wants to get them out of this funk. Hope that the offense can get a couple of big hits for him. His tempo's good. He's working fast tonight. That's one of the keys. Look at that target. Yeah. See how Salvi's getting down there? Man, he is accentuating it just like he did with Johnny Cueto last year. He's almost doing the splits.
That was a setup made famous by Tony Pena years ago. Tony Pena, when he was a young catcher with the Pittsburgh Pirates, would get down low in that position. No one had ever seen that before.
And he'd stick his leg all the way up. Tony Pena and Salvador Perez are a lot alike. I saw Tony when he was a young catcher for the Pirates. We used to share their instruction league complex in Pirate City in Bradenton, Florida. And I was a young 18-year-old rookie going to those instructional leagues every year, and I noticed this guy that had incredible energy behind the plate. And he looked like a man amongst boys. Always chattering, talking, had a great arm, throwing the ball around the infield. He was easy to notice, Tony Pena.
Down goes Machado for a 2nd time.
Great changeup.
4th strikeout for Volquez. 2 down. Let's go to Joel.
All right, let's take a look at our Lee Summit Mazda game break. Interleague play, the Arizona Diamondbacks and Tampa Bay Rays. That would be Desmond Jennings going deep off of Archie Bradley. Rays win at 6-3. Been talking about all the trades and Dayton Moore. Jake Odorizzi getting his 3rd win of the year. He's 3-3 with a 3.47 ERA. Amazing how all the pieces from that trade have still moved around.
Jake Odorizzi coming to the Royals in the Zach Greinke deal, and then going to Tampa Bay in the Wade Davis deal.
That's right.
Trumbo struck out swinging at a changeup in the 2nd inning, and now Volquez has getting them to start to chase pitches out of the strike zone.
Just watching Trumbo's body language after he swung at that pitch tells it all. Stepped back, he went ooh, and he looked at his bat to see if it was okay, and he wanted to know where he made contact with it, and it was way near the label. It was that good movement on that 2-seamer. Salvi's really working him down. You've got to, if you're going to beat these guys that hit home runs, you've got to pitch down. Look at it now. Watch Trumbo. He's going, ooh, man, that was nasty. Where did that hit on my bat?
Changeup, and he had just thrown a changeup on the pitch before, and Trumbo read that one. He did not read this one, and that was the pitch that Volquez used to strike out Trumbo in the 2nd inning. Strike 3 with a fastball. He set him up with the off speed and put him away with the heat.
Trumbo, you got to go.
'14 ALCS. That's an Alcides Escobar home run against Chris Tillman. And the Orioles with 96 wins against the Royals, who finished with 89 wins. The Royals stunned Baltimore here, winning the first 2 games.
Get that glove out of the way.
And then back to Kansas City and winning the next 2 and advancing to the World Series.
I'll never forget that, especially our duties for postseason were to cover the game after the game, do the postgame show. And our setup was right outside of their right field gate where all those fans were exiting. And after the first time we beat them, they were pretty quiet and everything was okay. But the second night, they were not happy, the Bird fans. And they knew who we were, and there were some unkind words being said.
0-2 on Paulo Orlando.
It was a stunned Oriole crowd. They couldn't believe what was happening.
I'm being reminded of a certain interaction with a fan who chimed in during our post-game coverage.
Okay, you brought it up. I did.
Well, I didn't bring it up.
Well,
someone in the booth brought it up.
I was gonna say something, but when Ryan, you couldn't. Some fan yelled something bad, and you turned and yelled back. And about that time, I wanted to kick you in the leg and say, "Rhino, it's about 10,000 to 2." That's not a good idea. We had a security guard out there with a walkie-talkie. That ain't gonna help.
Here's Cuthbert. Well, that moment was about 20 years in the making. Never understood when a losing team says about a bad team, you fill in the blank. It's a word that starts with S, and it basically says you're not very good. And even if you beat a bad team, you're diminishing your own accomplishment if you're saying you beat a bad team. So I always thought that was just a dumb thing to say. So an Oriole fan walked by, we were live on the air, and said, Kansas City, fill in the blank. And so my immediate reaction was, well, if that's true, what does that say about the Orioles? So, right? I mean, if you beat somebody, whether they're good or bad, why would you say that they're a bad team?
They can say whatever they want.
Or if you get beaten by a team, why would you say that?
They're the fans. They can do whatever they want and say. And you know what? Maybe that's all the years that I got ragged and I was called those names, and I'm used to that, and I never turned around and acknowledged it unless I was on the field. And I always agreed with him, by the way.
Fouled away by Cuthbert. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And another thing too, you know, you go to a game and one team's beating another and the crowd starts yelling overrated. Well, why are you saying that? You're beating an overrated team. You want to beat good teams.
I'm popping one out of the yard right here. 3-2 fastball. Ooh, good rip.
He got the fastball. He got a hanging breaking ball in the 3rd inning. And Cuthbert doubled into the left field corner. And then Dyson tried to bunt and get him to 3rd, but he popped up the bunt and the Orioles turned it into a double play. Chester's had good swings against Tillman tonight.
Right. And the way that CB Bucknor's strike zone is tonight with 2 strikes, he needs to be hacking at those. Anything close. Get called out looking.
And Cuthbert last night was called out on strikes in a key spot in the game. Fastball got him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Tillman and 4 in the game.
Father's Day is just around the corner. Treat your dad to an afternoon at the ballpark as the Royals take on the Detroit Tigers on Sunday, June 19th. We will provide Dad with a great gift as the first 10,000 men through the gates will receive a special edition KC Barbecue spatula, courtesy of Academy Sports and Outdoors. Get your Father's Day tickets today at Royals.com/promotions or call 1-800-6-ROYALS.
Outside to Dyson with Cuthbert at 2nd and nobody out in the 3rd. Dyson tried to bunt to 3rd and he popped it up to Flaherty. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Dyson did that on his own.
Agree.
1-1.
The swing we're talking about. That was a good swing.
So did Mike Jershely give Dyson that bunt single, or did Dyson figure that was the team first thing to do?
No, but Tillman's falling in love with his fastball, and that's going to be the pitch that's Royals got to do some damage on. He's not throwing his fastball as much this season as he had in the past. He's 8% less this year, and his cut fastball 8% more, so he's going more with a cutter. It's that late little action.
Both pitchers have thrown a lot of strikes tonight. 2-2.
There's the breakdown on his pitches. Fastball getting hit a majority of the time is because that's the pitch that he throws the most of. So Tillman at the bottom of the Royals order here is just going after these guys. He's saying, here it is, hit it. He knows they're in a slump. He's going to challenge these guys until somebody busts him. Going to come with another one here. Oh, maybe not. Put more fingers down.
Tillman strikes out the side, getting Orlando, Cuthbert, and Dyson. Halfway home in Baltimore, no score. To you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. The Orioles have one base runner against Volquez in the first 4 innings. Wieters grounds to shallow right field. Merrifield throws him out. Wieters is 0 for 2. All Volquez has allowed is a 1-out double to Nolan Reimold. And that's it. So he's been pitching out of the windup for most of tonight. And he's only thrown 52 pitches. Only 1 out in the air so far. And that was a fly ball, a broken bat fly ball to shallow center field from Jones. Over the outside and a strike to Scope. Jonathan Scope grounded out to Cuthbert at third in the 2nd inning. And it's 0-2. There are very few Orioles in the lineup that have much experience against Volquez. Volquez has not faced the Orioles since 2013 when he was pitching with San Diego. And he's only made 4 starts against the Orioles in his career. So the Orioles didn't see him at all last year, and they didn't see him when they were in Kansas City in April. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And it brings back a memory of what we learned about the Rays in their spring training and where they play all the National League or American League Eastern teams and how they try to hide their pitchers in B games and stuff because they don't want the opponents to see them. And it's a good example of a team like the Royals who train in Arizona, and the Birds train out in Florida, so they don't see any of them. That's a big advantage.
Player with the most experience against Volquez is J.J. Hardy, and he's on the disabled list.
Keep it down, make him put it in play. There you go, no free passes.
And that really hasn't been an issue in this series with the Orioles scoring all the runs that they have. The Royals only walked 2 last night, and neither walk turned into a run. In game 1, the Royals walked 2, and neither turned into a run. And there's the first walk allowed by Volquez. Schoop is on with 1 out. Here's our greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Most wins with the current organization. Ned Yost is 5th. 2 longest tenured managers, Mike Scioscia by far in the American League, Bruce Bochy in the National League. Joe Girardi is the 2nd longest tenured manager in the American League, and then John Gibbons, who's been the Blue Jays manager 2 different times. And in between was bench coach for the Royals. And Ned Yost. The Royals went 6-0 on the last homestand, and Ned was 2 wins away from 500. And I'm sure he didn't imagine that he'd still be 2 wins shy of 500 in game 7 of the road trip.
Yeah. No, he wouldn't have thought that.
One and 1 on Pedro Alvarez.
Oh, Mike Scioscia got a 10-year contract. How many managers get a 10-year deal?
The Orioles don't run at all. And that's just a slight exaggeration. The Orioles tonight are playing in their 58th game of the year, and they have stolen 9 bases. They have been thrown out 6 times. High changeup for a strike. 1-2 on Alvarez.
Good pitch to hit there. So Edison wants to induce his 8th ground ball double play right here in this situation. You shouldn't even worry about Schoop. Don't even throw over there. Don't mess up your groove. He's on a nice pace tonight. Volquez is. Don't let a base runner throw you off your game. Don't even worry about it. Let Salvi take care of the runner if he goes.
And especially one that doesn't run very well.
Exactly. Just concentrate on Alvarez here. Ooh, good ball for the double play there. Try to pull that outside breaking ball. That's what brings the pair.
Blocked by Salvi. Schoop stays put. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Okay, look at Merrifield, the second baseman. Merrifield's right over there. On a ball hit over here, how are they going to turn a double play if it's in between Cuthbert and Escobar? They're both going for it. Merrifield's got a long way to run. So in this era of shifting, they talk that out and they design how they're going to do this.
In the right center field. Paulo is on it quickly, so Schoop holds at second base. And for the first time The Orioles have 2 base runners in 1 inning.
So if Merrifield was back in double play depth like a lot of teams play, that would have been a double play. Or he might have caught it. Double play positions right here.
And now with Reimold coming to the plate, Merrifield goes to that location. Reimold doubled up the left field line in the 3rd inning and was stranded at 3rd. There was some resistance when teams started shifting dramatically because pitchers were used to certain balls being put in play turning into outs. There'd be ground balls and they're used to second baseman or shortstop standing there. Now suddenly with the shifts there's nobody standing there. No balls and 2 strikes on Reimold. And so in the case of A.J. Hinch and the Houston Astros, there was resistance before A.J. went to Houston, and his solution to it was to involve the pitchers in on the meetings, involve them on the data. Here's why we're playing these fielders where they are. One ball and 2 strikes. Whereas in the past, the coaching staff would get together with the scouting staff and they would say, okay, here's how we're going to position these infielders. And with some teams, the pitchers weren't aware of that. So they get a routine ground ball to short, and wait a minute, there's no shortstop there.
Well, that's how you coordinate your different meetings. Pitchers have a meeting, infielders have a meeting before the games. And you know, the coaching staff, before they have those meetings, they coordinate that. So you work hand in hand, you try to. And that's helped. Some of the pitchers understand why they're moving.
Two and two. But the way it was explained to me is that some teams, they'd go through those meetings and talk about how they wanted to pitch certain hitters. But what wasn't discussed was, and by the way, we're going to have 3 infielders on the right side.
Yeah.
You're going to have a third baseman all by himself on the left side. And so pitchers thought they were making good pitches, but they weren't getting outs. Still 2 and 2.
Yeah, and you know, that's something that is, again, the human element of missing your spots. I mean, they're not going to be exact like that. They try to pitch him there, and this is where you're going to pitch him. You're going to pitch him here. Yeah, well, I'm going to try to get it there, but if I miss 3 inches in, it's not going to work.
Scope is at second. Alvarez is at first. Still 2 and 2. And now a full count. If Reimold gets on, Ryan Flaherty's on deck. It's been mostly a breeze for Volquez through the first 4 innings. Retired the side in order in the first, in the second, 1-man reached in the third, and he got the Orioles in order again in the fourth.
Reimold, nice number with runners in scoring position, 375. He's battling Volquez here. He's waiting for a mistake.
2 walks and a single, and now the Orioles have the bases loaded with 1 down. So pretty easy in innings 1 through 4, and now he's thrown 22 pitches in this inning, and he's gotten 1 out.
Okay, Salvi's telling him, all right, with one out here, ball back to you, come to me. And they're kind of figuring out how they're going to work it here. And really, Volquez can just go up there and execute, try to execute his pitches down in the zone, use the defense against Flaherty, the number 9 hitter. Got to always know ahead of time what you're going to do with the ball before it's hit. Flaherty had one of the prettiest swings he's had in his career last night off of Yordano Ventura. Don't want to see that here, but Volquez is going to have to keep the ball down.
And he did against Flaherty in the 3rd inning, getting him to ground out to second base. Good breaking ball for strike 1. That was the longest of the Orioles home runs last night, keeping in mind Jones, Trumbo, and Davis also homered. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Great spot for that fastball there at 94. Just missed out.
Got a pitch out, lines it to right and over Paulo's head. Scope scores, Alvarez scores, Flaherty has a double. And for the first time in the series, a walk has turned into a run for Baltimore.
Well, after you get a hit like that, your confidence, that does so much for your confidence, especially a guy like Flaherty who's not getting a chance to play all that regularly. And he got that home run last night. Now he's a different hitter. He waited. He knew Volquez had to come in. Paulo just a little late on his jump. Just sailed over his head. Well, the kid's confident hitter now.
Here's Adam Jones. He is 0 for 2 so far. He has grounded out to short and flied out to center field.
An inch more on the jump or more top spin on that. And would have got 1 run. Sacrifice fly only. So they call it a game of inches for a reason.
C.B. Bucknor says he went around. Jones wanted an appeal to first base umpire Fielding Colbert. I've heard many umpires tell me that the umpire that has the best look is really the home plate umpire. And I think Jones has a reason to argue.
Looked like he held back. Volquez with 5 strikeouts tonight could use another one here.
Two and 1. Three balls and 1 strike with Kim on deck. And Volquez didn't have 1 single walk. He did fall behind Alvarez 3-0 in the 3rd inning, but came back and struck him out. And now here in the 5th, He gets a ground out from Wieters, and then a walk, a single, another walk, a 2-run double, and now he's behind Jones 3-1. Full count.
Volquez has thrown several 3-2 changeups, so maybe that's going to be a pitch that's coming. He's hoping that they'll swing over the top of it like they did early. But I think the word's gotten back to the Orioles dugout that, hey, he's throwing changeups. Just lay off them. They're designed for you to swing and miss, but they're not strikes. So we'll see what he comes up with here. He'll help himself in a big way if he can get it by him.
Still 3-2. This is the 32nd pitch thrown by Volquez in this inning. Broke his bat. Dyson with forward momentum. Fires to the plate. And it arrives late. Reimold scores, and now 2 walks have turned into runs. And Adam Jones, who's had a down year in many offensive categories, is still driving in runs. That's his 9th RBI in his last 7 games.
Well, Gerard gets to it. And as his momentum was going towards right field, that's a tough turnaround for him to get his 8th throw off. So he's trying to get around it as much as he can and line up his feet. No chance.
Two down to Hyun-Soo Kim with Flaherty at second base. Breaking ball for a strike. Flaherty hit the 2-run double to score Scope and Alvarez. And now the Jones sacrifice fly. Kim twice has grounded out to Merrifield at second base. That's down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. And now the 35th pitch of the inning for Volquez. Up the middle and into center field. A 4-run bottom of the 5th inning for the Baltimore Orioles. And Edinson Volquez, who allows 1 base runner and strikes out 5 in the first 4 innings, is not going to get out of the 5th inning.
Well, the Orioles were patient, and this is just the end of the 2nd time through. And so they were laying off of those pitches early in the game that they were swinging at. And so you got to credit their offense for being patient. And then when he had to come in situations, they made contact and they hit the ball. Kind of what the Royals aren't doing.
So Luke Hochevar is a Chevy call to the bullpen with 2 down in the 5th inning. to you by your local Kansas City area Chevy dealers. Visit for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. My Panera Bread, food as it should be, with 24 KC Metro locations. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, right stuff, low price every day. What a turn of events for Edinson Volquez. He has allowed 4 runs. He is still responsible for Kim at first base, as Manny Machado bats against Luke Hochevar. Machado struck out twice against Volquez. Hochevar's on for the 2nd time in the series. He came on in the 7th inning in relief of Danny Duffy and allowed a run.
26th game this year for Hoch. He's done a nice job. Cutter, curveball, straight fastball. You know, sometimes when you're going through this period where the offense is not scoring any runs for you, sometimes pitchers feel like they have to be perfect. They've got to be able to execute, and so that puts a little extra pressure on the pitchers in this period of time. And Volquez, I kind of felt that. He was trying to make the pitch, and he just wasn't happening. Sometimes the pitcher feels like he's got to be perfect.
Kim runs, and the throw hits the runner. And that's the first big league stolen base for Hyun Soo Kim.
Merrifield lost his glove on that. Good thing he didn't hurt his wrist, his hand. Sometimes when your glove gets caught up in the slide of the runner, it can dislodge the ball just like it did, but also it can cause wrist injury. God, that didn't happen.
Manny Machado hit his first big league home run against Luke Hochevar in 2012. Off the end of the bat, long run for Kane, and he catches up to it and saves a 5th run in the inning. It all started with 1 out. 4 straight reached. All 4 scored. And at the end of 5, Baltimore leads 4-0. In his 5 innings, and now pitching with a 4-0 lead. It's our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is Carolyn Gilbreth from Garnett. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Carolyn wins $600. If the Royals hit a grand slam, Carolyn wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Royals. Top of the order, Escobar, Merrifield, and Kane. Escobar grounded out to third in the first inning and then dropped down a beautiful bunt single in the third. 1 for 2.
Cut fastball belt high out over the plate. Royals can start looking for the heater. That one there, they're not going to get. But Tillman, he's living up there right around the belt, just above it.
One ball, 2 strikes. Tillman struck out the side in the 5th inning. Orlando, Cuthbert, and Dyson. He has struck out 5 and walked 0. Out of play.
Escobar always wears the rubber molded spikes on the bottom.
What the bright orange on the back of the heel.
Interesting.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
You notice he taps his bottom of his shoes after every time he steps out of the box. A lot of hitters don't do that when you wear metal spikes because it messes up your baseball bat. Puts in indentations in your bat. Esky, he gets away with it with the rubber cleats.
Still 2-2. Showing you earlier that it's been a tough trip for Escobar, Kane, Hosmer, Perez, but especially for Escobar, with 3 hits and 27 at bats without a run scored. 4 straight strikeouts for Tillman and 6 in the game. And now Whit Merrifield, he is grounded out twice. Cricket Wireless gives us something to smile about. So Whit has hit in 15 of his 16 major league starts. He has reached base safely in all 16, tying a Royals record. So he could assume a new record of his own tonight. Starting at 4 different spots in the lineup, 4 different positions. Settled in the number 2 spot with Mike Moustakas on the disabled list. He's more of a traditional number 2 type hitter.
Yeah, he is. He's been one of the bright spots during this losing period of time. You know, another thing, when you're struggling for hits, sometimes you expand your zone and you try to swing at everything like Escobar. Those pitches up like that, not one big leaguer can hit those hardly. It's just pitches you can't hit. So Tillman's taking advantage of an aggressive swinging team.
Short hop by Flaherty, 2 down in the 6th inning. Every Wednesday at Kauffman Stadium is Student Night. For only $10, you can hang out with your friends and enjoy a happy hour special at the Boulevard Grill concession stand as you listen to live local music on the Outfield Experience stage before the game. Visit Royals.com/Student Night for a full list of bands and for tickets. Foul tip by Lorenzo Cain. He is 0 for 2. Tillman allowed 3 home runs in his last start. He allowed 3 home runs in the start before that. And CB Buckner is going to say that Cain went around. chasing the high fastball. Tillman has struck out 5 of the last 6 and retired the last 8 Royals. 4-0 Baltimore to the bottom of the 6th.
Obviously, an amazing executive, and you know, he's just everything that you hear about him is on point. He's just a great guy, and I couldn't be more appreciative of the opportunities that he's given me time and time again. He's given me a lot of chances, and you know, here I am, still a Kansas City Royal, and wouldn't have it any other way.
Going this offseason a free agent, you know, that was a big reason to come back here. Is, you know, having Dayton Moore as my GM. So, you know, he's meant a lot to me over my career, and you know, I got to thank him for everything he's done for me, believing in me, sticking with me, and you know, I'm glad that, you know, I'm still here and he's still here. So hopefully more years to come.
It just kind of goes to show you that, you know, one man's belief is stronger than a million opinions, and you know, slowly, piece by piece, we got to watch this thing get put together.
Comments there from 3 Royals, including the 2 longest tenured in Luke Hochevar and Alex Gordon, and I think really on point comment there by Luke Hochevar about one man's belief being stronger than all the opinions that didn't see it. And I remember, guys, a few years back talking to a member of the organization, an instructor, who said, I've been with a lot of organizations, and when things don't work after a couple of years, you usually scrap it and move on to another plan and try something else. And in the case of Dayton, he said, I've never seen it before, but he has done and continued to do everything he said that he would do and not waver.
And for me, if I were to sum up why this has worked so well, and there are many reasons, but the one word that stands out for me, getting back to what Joel just said, is patience. Because remember, all these young players started getting to the big leagues in 2011. Then they all were here in 2012 when the Royals lost 90 games, and I'll say it again, they lost 90 games for the 11th time in 14 years. And some of those young players weren't performing very well yet at the big league level. Hochevar locks up Trumbo. Trumbo has struck out 3 times. And there's one down in the 6th inning. But the Royals stuck with the plan. They stuck with the players. And they were rewarded immediately. In 2013, the Royals were 10 games above 500. They weren't eliminated until game 158 or 159 in the season. And then World Series in 2014, World Series in 2015.
But remember that 90 season loss in 12, how the Royals were getting it handed to them. Typical for young players. You know, they're trying to find their way, establish themselves as players. And that's what happens. You just don't really walk into a championship when you're young. It takes time to build. The Orioles, this is their 63rd season as a team. They have 3 World Series championships. The Royals in their 48th season have 2. They're hard to get. And Dayton Moore doing it in 9 years is amazing.
You know, the 3 guys who spoke about Dayton, Danny Duffy left the game for a while, thought he may never come back. He needed some time to sort some things out. The Royals welcome him back with open arms. Luke Hochevar just never really got it going as a starting pitcher. Wieters walks with 1 out. Wieters is on for the first time. The Royals stuck with him. He's turned into an upper echelon late inning reliever in the American League. And Alex Gordon, who Dayton Moore identified along with Billy Butler when he took over, he said, you know, yeah, we can go out and draft and develop all these young players, but we need some players that are already in the system to be all-star caliber. And in order for that to happen, they had to send Alex back to the minor leagues to learn a new position. And not just send him back to the minor leagues, but send him back to the minor leagues in Nebraska, where he's from. And Alex embraced that. You know, I asked Dayton during the interview, and I said, is there a voice that you hear in your head, or a quote that you hear in your head when things are going tough, that you go to for strength or you go to for perspective? And he thought about it for a moment, and he didn't really answer it directly, but he said, you know what I always remember is what would happen with Alex Gordon. We brought him in. We told him what we wanted to do. We told him that we still believed in him. He then believed in us and humbled himself to go back to the minor leagues and learn a new position. And then, of course, all-star games and Gold Gloves followed. But that's how he answered that question. And that's why the Royals want to keep Alex Gordon in this organization, because there will be another time where they're going to do that with another player. Paulo Orlando makes a nice running play. So 2 down in the 6th inning. Not only did it lead to all-star games and Gold Gloves, but one of the most important moments in the 2015 World Series.
The first run this postseason against Familia.
And that one swing demoralized the Mets and their closer, who hadn't given up a run since July. That was a demoralizing shot, and I'll never forget where I was, and many people won't either that weren't inside the ballpark. I was outside sitting on the set with Joe Goldberg, and it was quiet, and all of a sudden we saw it hit, and we screamed and hollered, and all the security people around, they're all looking at us, and I screamed at the top of my lungs, Alex got him. It was right at the perfect time too. Late in the game like that, that was special. And it was a bomb too. It wasn't like a wall scraper.
Right.
It was a no-doubter.
Well, it did. It set the tone for that World Series.
And I'll never forget the look on Familia and his teammates as he walked in after that inning was over. His teammates looked at him in disbelief. They couldn't believe he gave up a homer in a World Series in Game 1.
Witt out in shallow right field. He'll take care of Alvarez, and Hochevar holds the Orioles scoreless in the 6th inning after they scored 4 in the 5th.
is not in Chicago. Our Lee Summit Mazda game break, the debut of James Shields, and he has already given up 3 home runs in the contest. It started off shaky for him and not happy. Big game James. He gave up a walk, a wild pitch, a bunt from Bryce Harper, and then the home runs came right now through an inning and 2/3, 7 hits and 6 runs in his White Sox debut, guys.
And he had a tough start in his last Padres appearance at Seattle. So that might have scared some of the White Sox scouts as they were evaluating Shields. But the White Sox could drop to below 500 tonight as Hosmer grounds it out to Scope. Eric is 1 for 3. Shields has now given up 16 runs in his last 4 in the 3rd innings, covering his last 2 starts.
Too bad we didn't get him. I mean, as far as match up with him this weekend, missed him by a couple days.
One down to Salvador Perez. He is 1 for 2. Tillman has now gotten an out against the last 9 Royals.
He's dealing. Challenging Royals. Just cutting through that offense like a knife through hot butter. He's throwing high fastballs, challenging them, and picking the Royals at a good time. And he's having his ways. 8-0, by the way, at home this year. He's been dealing. He's one of their best. They're looking forward to getting Giovanni Gallardo back. He pitched in a rehab game yesterday, so he'll be another veteran starter to add to their rotation.
Royals jumped on him in April at Kauffman Stadium, and Gallardo went on the disabled list shortly after that. Still 2-2.
Tillman, fastball, changeup, curve, and cutter.
All right, the 4 American League catchers to win the World Series MVP award. We've got Salvador Perez, Rick Dempsey,
Pat Borders, Blue Jays. 83,
92
90,
or 93.
Yeah, 90. I did one of those, I guess. That's the.
Yeah, they won at 92 and 93. So
Joe Carter got one of them, did he?
Yeah, but he wasn't a catcher.
He got one of them. And there's a hit.
Second of the night for Salvi. How about Jorge Posada? How about Gene Tennis? There we go. Nice work, Hud.
I got one.
You got 2 of them. You got an assist on Rick Dempsey.
Joe Carter's not on there. I thought for sure he was an MVP, but he didn't catch. All right, how about?
Did he win the MVP the year he hit the home run? You should have.
That's what I'm thinking. Morales needs to put one over the board here. Get the Royals back in it.
No, he didn't. Paul Molitor was the World Series MVP the year Joe Carter homered against Mitch Williams. Just foul.
Looking for a hairline fracture. Hit it off the end.
Got him with a changeup down. 8 strikeouts for Tillman. And the second time he's got Morales. Remember to follow the Royals live on your phone and tablet with MLB.com at bat. You can stay up to the moment with game day, video highlights, StatCast, bilingual access, split views, radio broadcast, news, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Well, Orlando's had a tough night against Tillman. He has struck out twice. Tillman is 1 strikeout away from tying his season high. He has struck out 9 twice this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Tillman has done that with his fastball all night. Gotten the Royals to chase a fastball that is tempting, but just out of the strike zone.
Baltimore Orioles offense made adjustments on Volquez. They were swinging over that changeup that he was putting down out of the zone, and then all of a sudden in the 5th inning they started taking those pitches and they made adjustments and made him bring it up. You got to discipline yourself on those pitches. Now with 2 strikes, there it is, going to stay right with that. It's a borderline area. You see early in the count. This is a game of adjustments, obviously in-game adjustments, not from game to game.
That's a base hit into right field. Perez stops at second base. It's the second time tonight, only the second time tonight, the Royals have had more than 1 runner. It's the first time they've had more than 1 runner at the same time. So last night it was all about coming up with the big hit with runners in scoring position. And the Royals stranded 13 in last night's game. Tonight they have only stranded 3. They've had very few opportunities against Tillman. Changeup for a strike. Best scoring opportunity so far. Back in the 3rd inning, Cuthbert led off with a double into the left field corner. No score at that time, and the Royals had a runner at second and nobody out. And Cuthbert did not score. Doubled up on a bunt attempt by Dyson. Back with a fastball, and it's 0-2.
Tillman started with a changeup that was down the middle. Took it, and then he went back upstairs about 3 more inches and put a little extra miles per hour on it. And you know how good their bullpen is. They're almost as good as ours. Got to get a big hit here.
And skips away.
I mean, like pump one out of the yard. Those fastballs, got to see him down a little bit, but it's getting to him late in this game. That's especially after what we witnessed. It's amazing that they could just shut it down like that.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Tillman does not have great numbers in his career against the Royals. His career ERA is over 6, but they've seen the best of Tillman. He threw his first major league shutout against the Royals 2 years ago. And he has shut out the Royals for 7 innings tonight, tying a season high with 9 strikeouts. And 6 of those 9 over the last 3 innings.
Still on top of the Royals 4-0. And just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Chris Tillman, in 8 home starts this year, is 8-0. And he is looking to become 9-0. As he is hitting his spots, his breaking ball with a high fastball has been the pitch that he's getting by these hitters. And he executed a nice 3-2 pitch there, but this high fastball, you can't hit it. It's out of the zone. And he is just going right through these Royals.
He is up over 100 pitches, 103, no walks, 9 strikeouts. We'll see if Buck Showalter runs him back out there for the 8th inning. At the moment, nobody is warming up, but they were warming up at the end of the 7th inning. Joakim Soria replaces Luke Hochevar. Hochevar went an inning and a third. Edinson Volquez went 4 2/3 and gave up all 4 of the runs. So Soria's a Chevy call to the bullpen. He has not pitched since the first game of this road trip. That was last Thursday, and the Royals' best opportunity to win. Royals had a 4-2 lead going into the 8th inning. Cleveland got 1 run against Kelvin Herrera, and with Wade Davis not available that night, the Indians got 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th against Soria.
Change up. He's got all 4 pitches: fastball, slider, change, curve. Tries to hit his spots. Fastball's shown some life lately. 90 to 94 we've seen velocity wise.
3-2 on Reimold. Reimold has doubled, walked, and scored a run. And now walked another time. Been spending the night Talking a lot about Dayton Moore and his 10 years as Royals general manager. The 10-year anniversary is today. This is his first offseason. And in that offseason, the Royals took a pitcher by the name of Joaquin Soria out of the San Diego Padres organization. Soria had just pitched a no-hitter in the Mexican Winter League. So the Royals were thinking starter at the time. Little did they know that it was one of the best Rule 5 selections in baseball history, let alone Royals history. All-star closer, 200 career saves. And in that same offseason, the Royals spent a lot of money to bring Gil Mesh to KC.
That's amazing how many players the Royals have hit on. Sometimes you take a chance on a guy and he's a miss guy, but then you take a chance on a guy like him and he's a hit.
Dayton has said many times in describing why the Royals didn't trade Joaquin Soria in his prime. The Royals were not winning. The Royals were going young. Soria was one of the best in the league. So why not trade him and bring more prospects into the system? And that topic was brought up quite a bit when Soria had his second Tommy John surgery, and Dayton's answer to that was the young players needed to see an example of greatness. And Joaquin Soria had some influence on Greg Holland, who became an all-star closer. There's the big rainbow curveball to strike out Flaherty. One down in the 7th inning. One on, one out for the top of the order. Adam Jones is 0 for 2. He had a sac fly in the Orioles' 4-run 5th inning. Edinson Volquez started the game tonight, and in his first 4 innings he gave up 1 hit and only 1 base runner, and he struck out 5 in those 4 innings. And then he got the first out of the 5th inning, so he just continued to roll along. But then a walk, a single, a walk, a double, a sac fly, and another single. And the Orioles scored 4, and Volquez didn't get out of the 5th inning.
He was cruising. Oh.
Oh, 0-2 on Jones.
Hard to win a game if you can't score any runs, though. How's that analysis for you?
It's pretty good. Did you spend all day in your room thinking that?
I did.
Royals have scored 4 runs in the last 5 games. That's before tonight. Breaking ball past Soria. Merrifield to second one. No double play. So Reimold is out at second base, and Jones will be at first with 2 down. No one sees sports quite the way that Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. Jason Whitlock, former columnist for the Kansas City Star. The brains to know and the guts to say. Catch Colin and Jason as they team up for FS1's new daily sports talk show, Speak for Yourself. It starts on Monday at 5 p.m. Hyun-Soo Kim is 1 for 3. He drove in the 4th and final run for the Orioles in the 5th inning. We've been talking about how much Kim has improved since the Royals saw him in April. Brad Brock gets ready for the top of the 8th inning. The Orioles almost resented Kim. That was the vibe we were getting. because he hit 180 in spring training. And the Orioles wanted him to go to the minor leagues just to get more at bats, get his timing back, continue to adjust to the United States. And he had the right in his contract to decline being sent to the minor leagues. And it was seen as a selfish move. And he was really struggling in April, but now you look up on the scoreboard and Kim's hitting .377.
It's just he knew what he had in him, but it's a big transition when you're going from a AA league in Korea to the highest league in the world. He was getting overmatched and dominated, especially in spring training, and they shouldn't have been surprised at that.
Dyson in the left field corner makes the play in fair territory. Leadoff walk for Soria, but it's a scoreless bottom of the 7th inning. The Orioles lead 4-0 to the 8th. For the Royals on offense tonight compared to last night, Chris Tillman has pitched 7 scoreless innings. He has struck out 9 and backed by 4 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Our ram drive of the game was Flaherty in the number 9 hole, knocking in a pair of runs with that double off the wall that got it all started. Hit the big home run last night, gained a lot of confidence, and got the first big hit of the game here.
That's under Scope's glove. Good start for the Royals. Dyson is on to begin the 8th inning. Tillman is still out there, and we wondered if he would come back out for the 8th. And we saw Brad Brock warming up in the bullpen. Tillman's at 104 pitches. Alcides Escobar had a bunt single in the 3rd inning. He is 1 for 3. Breaking ball for a strike. Jones into right center field. Escobar is out. Dyson is back to first base. And I just had a little flashback with Tillman on the mound and Dyson at first base. The Royals in 2014, after winning the wild card, were underdogs to face the Angels, who had won 98 games. The Royals swept the Angels. And then remember, the Orioles had a plan to shut down the Royals running game. And remember, Buck Showalter had closed stadium workouts because they had a plan to how they were going to stop the Royals running game.
Wasn't the first baseman Pierce?
Steve Pierce. And he was playing in between the runner and the bag and kind of shifting back and forth, trying to distract whoever the Royals runner was at first.
Yeah, he was way off the bag and not even close and in, and it appeared to be an illusion for Dyson or any of the runners that got on.
And Dyson, I believe, was thrown out twice in that series. Holtzy can look it up. But the funny part of that story is that even though Dyson wasn't able to do what he normally does as a base runner, the Royals won the 2 games here in Baltimore. And Dyson was caught stealing twice here in Baltimore, so that part of it worked. But the funny story was Quentin Berry was an outfielder for the Orioles, and Dyson, remember, had shaved Vroom, V-R-O-O-M, in the side of his head.
I remember.
And so the Royals were taking batting practice before game 3 or game 4. Whit has the record. Whit Merrifield has reached base safely in his first 17 major league starts. The Royals record, passing Johnny Damon, who first established the record back in 1995. And now here comes Buck Showalter. We'll continue the story. Don't touch that dial.
Congratulations, Whit. Way to go, buddy.
Two years ago, his career ERA against KC was over 6 coming into tonight. He strikes out 9 in 7 1/3 scoreless innings. He is still responsible for Dyson and Merrifield, and now Brad Brock takes him out. Our Quicken Loans rocket arms. Orioles bullpen has given up 1 hit in 6 innings in the first 2 games of the series. When the series began, the Royals had the best bullpen ERA in the major leagues. The Orioles had the second best, and that is flipped. And now the Baltimore Orioles have the lowest bullpen ERA in Major League Baseball. The Royals need another runner to bring the tying run to the plate here in the 8th inning. Brock pitched in game 1 of the series on Monday in relief of Mike Wright, who gave up just 1 run in 7 innings, and Brock struck out the side. Escobar, Merrifield, and Kane. Fastball is inside. So anyway, Gerard Dyson, likes nicknames that have to do with speed. Mr. Zoom Bayou, but he had shaved Vroom in the side of his head. So the Royals are taking batting practice back in Kansas City, and Quentin Berry is giving Dyson a hard time. He said, "Hey, Dyson, You're going to have to shave that out of your head. We've thrown you out twice. You got to shave that vroom out of your head. And without missing a beat, and if you've been around Gerard like we have, this won't surprise you at all. Gerard said, yeah, I'm going to get rid of vroom and put in broom.
That's one of the best lines he's ever come up with.
Great comeback. Inside to Kane, 2 balls and 1 strike.
That's exactly what happened.
It was Zoom. I'm sorry, not vroom. It was Zoom, as in Zoom Bayou.
Time to get a run home. Maybe more. This guy's good, but hey, look, he can be hit. He's got an ERA. Sinker, slider, change.
Helped him out. 2-2.
Royals just over aggressive. One of our keys tonight was try less. Try easy. And it's not working.
Right now, not just tonight, but on this road trip, many times it's been a case of the try too hards. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Brock is very explosive coming out of his windup. He's very fast coming home, and he has great life to his pitches. He's got an excellent changeup. The bottom falls out. Almost looks like a split finger. Sinks the fastball. Has the slider move in the different directions. Makes it tough to square up. That's the straightest pitch he's seen. 95 right there.
Brad Brock, we told you, was a 42nd round pick of the Padres 8 years ago. Traded to Baltimore. 95. So Brock in this series has faced 4 Royals hitters and struck out all 4.
Not one of Lorenzo's better swings.
So 2-on-2 out to Hosmer. Herrera and Davis. Davis hasn't pitched since Thursday. Hasn't pitched at all on this road trip. And that's always the rub. You think about, am I overworking my closer? You have to think more big picture than the moment. And Ned Yost, Wade Davis had pitched back-to-back games going into Thursday, and 4 of the last 5 days. And Ned stayed away from him on Thursday. The Royals suffer a blown save, and as fate would have it, the Royals haven't needed Wade Davis at all on this road trip since that Thursday game.
They'll come out of this and they'll be needing Davis again. It's a period that the Royals are in now in the Valley.
3-1. Hosmer gets on. The tying run will come to the plate. So with that in mind, Hosmer has to make absolutely sure this 3-1 pitch is a hittable pitch. Dyson runs to third, and Hosmer fouls it away.
And that was a swing, hard swing there. I mean, you could tell whenever his head pulls off like that, he's trying to put a little extra torque on it. So he does have Haas in swing mode. See what Wieters puts down.
Did he go?
Nice take.
No swing.
All right.
And the bases are loaded with 2 down.
He wanted to, and Brock went with a changeup, and he's able to spit on it.
That is the only walk given up by an Orioles pitcher all night. And now Royals fans have something to get excited about. Bases loaded, 2 down. And Salvador Perez, who has a 2-hit game. Dyson opened the inning with a single. With 1 out, Merrifield singled. And with 2 down, Hosmer walked.
Brock has given up 1 home run this year. It was to Brett Laurie, right-handed hitter.
0-2.
So that was his swing for the fences. Now how about just a little short little contact, put it in play. Doesn't have to be a great pitch. I mean, it's borderline, you better be hacking, but shorten up that swing.
Into left field. Kim is there and makes the play. The Royals lead the bases loaded.
Yep, it's a good swing. Just couldn't get it down or up over his head.
What a season, what a relief. On the ground to Hosmer. Davis to the bag. Magic number 0. The Royals are the 2015 American League Central Division champions.
The 1-2 again. Inside corner. The Royals, 2015 World Champions.
Some of the many crowning moments as we look back at the 10 years of Dayton Moore's tenure as Royals general manager. Wade Davis pitches the bottom of the 8th inning, grounds it to deep short. Escobar, 1 hop, and gets Machado. And how badly did Escobar want to get the Orioles shortstop?
Yeah, great play. He set his feet. You could tell there was determination and focusing on catching it first. You got to catch it, and then he set his feet and just threw it using the turf again. Yeah, beautiful play. You throw it lower, you have a chance. And you stay on top of the ball that way. If you get up underneath the ball, you're going to sail it.
So Wade Davis pitches for the first time on the trip. He picked up saves last Tuesday and Wednesday against Tampa Bay. Ned Yost did not want to use him on Thursday. No balls and 1 strike on Mark Trumbo. No loss is any fun. And the Royals are on their way to loss number 29. Into the right field corner. And that's a foul ball. But if you started ranking most painful losses of the year, I might put that loss on Thursday in Cleveland, the first game of this road trip, at the top of the list.
I'm with you. That hurt the morale. They had them. Took the air out of them. And then you got to give Cleveland Indians credit too. They pitched and they performed and they did exactly like they wanted to do the next 2.
Same for the Orioles in this series.
Exactly.
They've pitched, they've hit, they made the plays on defense. 96 miles an hour and fouled back by Trumbo, who has already struck out 3 times tonight. Volquez got him twice, and he also struck out against Hochevar.
Davis cut fastball, 4-seamer, and a big curve.
The Orioles scored all 4 runs in 1 inning, and it came out of nowhere, as Edinson Volquez was nearly untouchable in his first 4 innings. He gave up 1 base runner and struck out 5 in the first 4 innings, and then with 1 out in the 5th, the Orioles started a 4-run rally, and Volquez never got through the 5th inning. Volquez in the first 4 innings looked as good as he's been all year.
I agree. Had everything moving down. Salvi was really holding that target down low, just give him a visual reminder. Beautiful.
4 strikeout game for Mark Trumbo. Well, if you missed out on tickets to Diamond of Dreams this year, no problem. You can still be part of it by bidding on the event's exclusive auction items at diamond16.gesture.com. Proceeds benefit the charitable arm of the Kansas City Royals, Royals Charities, which gives grants to local nonprofit organizations throughout the year. To see the items up for auction or to bid, visit diamond16.gesture.com. 2-0 on Matt Wieters. Royals in the 9th will have Morales, Orlando, and Cuthbert. Three and one. At the left field line. It is not a save situation, so no Zach Britton warming up at the moment. That's him, the only one sitting on the bench without a sweatshirt on, number 53, so he can warm up At a moment's notice, the Royals will be facing Brad Brock again in the 9th, at least to begin the inning. Still 3-2 on Wieters. Back to Davis. So a long layoff for him, but still sharp as he gets the middle of the order. 1, 2, 3. The Royals are down by 4. Morales, Orlando, and Cuthbert are coming up. Win a game in this series and win a game on this road trip. Panera takes us around the league, and so far good news from the division. Toronto beat Detroit, and the Royals and Tigers were tied for second place in the division, and Chicago is down 7-0. James Shields is charged with all 7 of those runs in his White Sox debut. So if Seattle can beat Cleveland, as bad as it is right now for the Royals, and they're on the edge of 7 consecutive losses, the Royals would still be above 500, and they would still be in second place, 2.5 back. That's if Cleveland loses and if the Royals lose. And there's a good start. Kendrys Morales gets a base hit against Brock. Kendrys' first hit of the night.
I mean, it could be a lot worse. 103 games left after tonight's game. Plenty of time to find themselves again, and they will.
So Britton begins to warm up. One more base runner and it becomes a save situation. Paulo Orlando is 1 for 3. We started thinking about Dayton Moore's 10 years a couple of weeks ago, and you know, what were some of the key moves? This is one that I came up with, and some Royals fans may disagree, but shortly after Dayton became general manager, he traded J.P. Howell to Tampa Bay for Joey Gathright. Jones makes a play in center field. Tough break for the Royals. 1 down. Now that trade, and I brought it up with Paulo Orlando at the plate, that trade worked out much better for the Rays than it did for the Royals. J.P. Howell was a first-round pick. He really was struggling as a starter. He went to Tampa Bay and didn't do much better as a starter. They put him in the bullpen and he was outstanding. But that was the first move that Dayton Moore made that showed that he was going to start accumulating athletes. and that the Royals were no longer going to try and compete with the power hitting teams. We need power pitching. We need power hitters. Power hitters just aren't going to play at Kauffman Stadium night in and night out. So that was the first move. And the other side of that, too, was the willingness to trade away a pitching prospect. There was a hesitancy for the Royals before that to trade away a prospect for other players, and certainly a pitching prospect for other players. And that trade of Gathright was not long after the draft, when Gerard Dyson was the 50th round pick. So while that was not a trade that worked for the Royals, it was the sign of things to come. And trading for Paulo Orlando, a kid from Brazil who hardly knew how to play baseball, but he was an athlete. For left-hand pitcher Horacio Ramirez. That was in 2008. This is in Surprise, Arizona against the Dodgers. Hiroki Kuroda coming over to tag Joey Gathright, who just simply jumped over him.
Wow.
Joey was famous for jumping over cars. Strike 3 over the outside. That's the third time that Chesler has struck out, and now 2 down in the ninth.
It's getting late. It's off the plate, but maybe a little too close to take. So you get to Chicago, I guarantee you, Chesler and some of the guys are going to be seeing a lot of fastballs.
Dyson is 1 for 3 tonight. Coming up after the game, it's Boulevard Royals Live with Joel. Reaction from the Royals clubhouse, highlights, and setting up the next series. The Royals have a day off tomorrow, so that comes at a great time. Nice catch. And then begin a series in Chicago, where the Royals have had great success over the past few years. And they'll be playing a reeling White Sox team who could be under 500. Still 0-2 on Dyson. I think the Royals are down in the dumps right now. The Chicago White Sox, HUD, at one point were 13 games above 500, and they're on their way to going below 500. That might be the perfect opponent. It'll be the next opponent as the Orioles sweep a 3-game series, and the Royals are now 0-7 on this road trip. Good pitching and a struggling offense, and the Royals have now scored 4 runs in their last 6 games. Final score 4-0. We'll be right back.